Welcome to episode number 15 of Cody's Business Show. I have a friend and someone who's made me a good bit of money, Stevie D Reselling. We got the Nikes in the back, got the orange Supreme hat on. How the heck are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing? I'm trying to be like you. I seen you with some of the Supreme stuff before.
Yeah, I have one Supreme hat. I told my wife that I wanted one. I have the ugly brown corduroy hat, and I guess it was 2 years ago on my birthday. She said she went and bought a Supreme hat. My favorite color is orange, and so
Nice.
that's my one piece of Supreme swag that I still wear. So
Yeah, it's funny. It's not as hype as it used to be. It kind of died down, but I love this like the beanies. It's like my thing. My kids have beanies. I have beanies. I wear them like year round. So it's and on the Zoom calls that I do with the members in the Discord, it's like my thing. Like I always have. Where's the Supreme beanie if I don't have it on? So
yeah,
yeah, I love them.
awesome. Well, about the group, man. No, I know I have an affiliate link in the chat below. I don't know if it'll be active in the future when people see it, but for right now, if somebody watches and wants to join, they can. But affiliate stuff aside, you guys have made me a bunch of money, and I was a member. So you're gonna laugh. I was a member a long time before I was an affiliate. I actually joined under my wife's name a long time because I was running. I have a group. I run my group, and I didn't know if you guys would like me or not, and I wanted to try it out. And so I joined. Just kind of check it out. And then later on, I don't know if you remember, I messaged you. I was like, hey, would you mind if I joined? And then it's been beautiful since. So I'm loving the additions and the daily thing you do every day. Every time I get that message, I'm like, this dude is on it. Like you get a message. It's like, tomorrow this drops, this drops, this drops. We're gonna go for these tickets or these raffles or whatever. So just open it up. Heat
Yeah,
seekers,
yeah.
top notch.
Heatseekers Discord. That's who we're running with. I own a group along with 7 other individuals that we started up a couple years ago. We're about 2.5 years in at this point now, close to 450 members. It's a great community. It really is. One of the things that we wanted as the owners is come up with a community that is friendly, supportive, you know, something to where if you have an issue, instead of somebody clowning you and making fun of you, they'd actually help you. And they want to see you grow and they want to see you succeed. And they want to see you, go to the next level. And yes, we have fun, we break balls, but we do it to have a good time. At the end of the day, we want to see everybody level up continuously year in and year out. And I think over the, 2.5 years that we've been there, we've seen tons of people leave their full-time job, and go full-time in a reselling, take it to the next level. Somebody went, many people went 500,000 to 750, 1 million. We have numerous members who now are 7-digit, sellers on whether it's eBay, whether it's Amazon. So, I think we've gotten to the point now where the community is just unbelievably helpful. Everybody wants to see everybody win and grow, and it's super positive. And that's what we wanted. I know you're a big one that you talk about investing in yourself and spending money, and at the end of the day, those things are write-offs, but you're doing it to better yourself. And I was in other discords as well, and I saw the negativity, the clowning. You
Yeah.
ask a question and it's clown emojis, it's shit emojis. It's just, I'm sorry
Hmm.
for using my language, but
No.
it's it was a bad environment. It was toxic. So that's where I'm very proud, is to see a community that everybody wants to see everybody win at the end of the day.
Yeah, I totally agree with all that. Yeah, and toxic's the right word. I've been in a bunch of different groups and like had exposure to different environments. The drama and then the toxic, just like the negativity, like comments and stuff. Totally agree. It's out there, and yeah, I think I didn't sell on Goat before, and I didn't really have an interest in selling on Goat or eBay until I joined, and then you guys are dropping it like it's a no-brainer. Like some of the leads are just like, of course I should, like that's a crazy, which brings me to my next thing I want to talk about. This freaking thing that happened with Nike the other day. You want to talk about that a little bit? I mean, that
Yeah.
if you want to drop humble brag on, I don't know how much some of you guys spent, but it's probably going to be my biggest, expense this month is, like 2 hours of sitting at my
Yeah.
computer doing, Nike stuff. So
Yeah, it was wild. That was one of my biggest spends in quite a while myself personally. It's I
God bless
spent
Congress.
about a car's worth of money on inventory in that one for sure. But it's one of those things, we talk about sometimes to get to the next level, you have to push it to the point of being uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And those are usually the situations to where when you do that, it ends up being a good outcome. When you
Sure.
see all the other people in the Discord doing it, it's you really start going, look, if this many people are doing it, it's just got to be a good move. And for anybody who sells Nike, I mean, 40% off, things like Air Force Ones, things like, brand new cleats that came out, um, a lot of other items as well. They get 40% off of those prices. It never happens. You can never go and get triple white Air Force Ones or triple black Air Force Ones at 40% off. It
Yeah.
just doesn't happen. So
With 8% Rakuten.
yeah, 8% racketing on top. I'm lucky. I live in a tax-free state as well. So, that's a field day. So
Yeah.
to have that opportunity, it was unbelievable. And that was the great thing about, our community is not me, me, me. It's I want to help everybody. So, like you
Yeah.
said, Connor in the Discord found this 2 hours before, and I did my research. I had to go look at this because I was just so proud of Connor finding this.
Yeah.
Is one of our member moderators is 2 hours before anybody else. Soul
Hmm.
Link, Soul Retriever, any of the big Twitter sneaker feeds, Instagram feeds, we were 2 hours ahead of it. And
Yeah.
to have 2 hours in the sneaker reselling world is like an eternity.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everything gets out right away when there's a restock. We had all day. You could sit here and take your time and go through it. And it
Yeah.
was, I mean, I got orders the next day. We did it
Hmm.
2 days ago. I already had orders show up yesterday. It was crazy. It was next day from Indiana. So, yeah,
That's
it
so
was
powerful, man. Yeah.
unbelievable, man. And that's the stuff really that over the next, 6 to 12 months, they're going to feed off of that. Some of that stuff's going to get sold right away. Some of that stuff's going to get sold at quarter four. That's the kind of
Yeah.
stuff that just continues. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So, but that's what we talk about in the Discord is, can I help my fellow member? How fast can I share this in real time
Yeah.
instead of somebody gatekeeping, keeping it all for themselves, and then the sale gets clipped and no one gets to take advantage of it? That's what I love about a community that wants to help each other.
Yeah, I was in a group at one point, that was really good, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't as good, and later, much later on, I found out, what had kind of happened, but the bigger guys kind of got together. They made a smaller chat, and that, like you said, gatekeeping. They kind of kept the really, really good stuff, and then shared everything else. And you know, I haven't seen that at all with you guys. It's almost like it's almost like you guys you get excited to share it with everybody, and
Absolutely.
you don't find that in every community. It's especially if Amazon's related. If it's anything Amazon related, the mantra is don't tell anybody or tell one person and that's it. And so you've kind of found I'll say this too, a lot of the stuff that gets shared, it feels like it's probably a lead for eBay. And the way, like, the most value I've found, other than some of the the bigger stuff, but like you share a lead for it seems like it's shared for eBay, but then I spend another 40 seconds looking it up on Amazon, manually, doing a little bit of research, and realize, oh, this is a home run for Amazon too. And that's where, everybody who's joined, and that I've messaged with and talked to, that's my selling point is, if you do shoes on Amazon, go through and look at every single lead in the members channel, or members lead channel, or whatever it's called, and then the online cooks channel. Look at every single one, manually look up the lead for Amazon, and there's probably a size that's going to be, a home run that you just, you feel good about, putting a couple $100 into, and or or a lot more. Yeah, you sell on Amazon, right? That's
Correct. Yeah,
one of for
I'm
you.
Amazon. Amazon's number one for me personally. Goat's number two. I do eBay as well still. That's three. And then a little bit of Poshmark, a little bit of StockX I mix in, and I still do local. I do local flips as well still. So, like when the consoles were big, when there's
Sure.
certain brick seek plays that like baby carriages or things that, are bigger, bulkier items. I do like to flip those local as
Yeah.
well. So
We have the
yeah,
same business model. I mean, that's
yeah,
almost I mean, that's real close to what my wife and I do. We're not 100% shoes, like, we do kinda all kinda random stuff, but,
yeah.
I mean, that's spot on.
Yeah,
Did
I'm
you
I'm
see
into everything, bro. Like I said, I always say if it makes money, I'm into it. I'm not just a shoe guy. I mean, that's kind of what I do and what I put out there. But from, I mean, we can go back. I do stuff from autographs. I do memorabilia. I do toys. I do book. I mean, you name it, I'll sell it. I don't care what
Yeah,
it is, and I'll be that way for the rest of my time reselling. It's just how
sure.
it is.
Yeah. Did you see the Bowtech lead that I put in there, the kettlebell? This
Yeah.
is
Yep.
just a random lead, and I was like, "I think this would, this would fit good
Yep.
in the."
And I know members bought it and made money off it. I saw them
I
show the
bought a
sales up.
bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got 15 of them, and they just delivered one day, and I just had all these Bowtech, kettlebells stacked up in a pyramid on my porch, and I think we bought them for 49.99, and I sold a bunch at 75, and then I was just kinda, tired of looking at them after a while, and I lowered it to 65, and I mean, just people were lining up to, buy them locally.
Yeah.
That's a great flip for me. I get excited about that.
Yeah, I guess if you're flipping it local, you're saving on the fees. You can meet customers. I like to talk to the people when I meet up with them and ask them, is there
Yeah,
anything else that you're looking for? If you
sure.
need something else, here's my number. Shoot me a text message. I can get anything pretty much. If it's
Yeah.
shoes, if it's clothes, whatever you need. And you'd be surprised how many return people you get that say, holiday time. Hey, I know I bought a pair of shoes off you. Can you get these shoes for me? It's
Yep.
like you build those relationships with people locally, and it's return business all the time.
Yeah, my wife and I have a Facebook group called McCarson Family Store. That's my last name, and it's just a group where, like, if I buy something, it tanks on Amazon, or I get returns, or shoe returns is just one of the questions I want to ask you about. But like, that's a great place to offload crap, and you should try out Walmart third party too. I don't know if you checked that out.
That's one platform I haven't got into yet. I've talked to a few people who are on there, and they seem to like it. I want to get into it down the road more. I've been waiting to kind of like really feel strongly about the people who are on there, like that just go, yeah, it's a home run. You got to get on there. You got to do it.
Yeah, it's a nightmare, man. It's like just terrible system, and it's hard to mess with, but it's low competition, and I'm starting to see shoes trickle in on there. So I'm
Yeah,
starting to see Adidas and Nike and Croc shoes be listed on Walmart.com. So if I had to guess, there's going to be people like you. I see all the shoes behind you. That they're going to be listing their long term stuff on there. I see consistently, items that are, 39.99 on Amazon go for 59.99 on Walmart as a third party seller, and that's the norm because there's not as much competition. So
okay.
it's I haven't sold any shoes on there yet, but I'm selling like other random crap, and I'm having success with it. So.
Do you have to get like ungated in different brands too, or no?
For almost everything, you don't have to. So for
Okay.
almost everything, it just lets you. There's a few brands that it still, but I haven't got through any of the gates yet. So I don't know if there's a way around
Hmm,
it, but 90% of stuff, we're selling without a problem. So
not bad. Yeah, I'll have to look at it at some point. I got to get on there and take a look because I'm seeing more and more people talk about it. It
hmm
definitely feels like it's lower competition. It's
yeah,
something I got to take a look at some point. I'll hit you up soon. I'm gonna have to look at this.
yeah. Hey, ask away. Well, let me ask you about this.
Mhm.
So Amazon selling. I know from the group calls some of the types of shoes, and I don't know how much of that you get into, but you're selling these shoes for a lot more,
Mhm.
than they're going for. I could buy this shoe on Goat for XY, maybe 250, and then you're selling on Amazon for like 3.99, or
Yep.
something like way higher. Why is it like that?
I just think it's a very conditioned, clientele that's on there. I think it's just they see an item that they want and they just hit the buy button. I think I don't think the shoppers on there really care about price as much. It's a necessity. Like, Oh, I need a new pair of cleats for my kid. Let me jump on Amazon real quick and just buy them. Oh, I need a new track jacket for my kid. Let me just jump on there. It's Gred. Boom, buy it now. It's done with. I don't think they really do as much research, and that's where it's whatever the fair market value is at that time, they'll pay for it. Almost every shoe that I sell, if I have it, and I cross list almost everything that I
Wow.
keep low, is it's always sells for more money on Amazon. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the way that it is now. Do you get more returns? Absolutely. That we can go into as well. But I just think the Amazon buyer just pays the price that it is, and that's what it. Yeah, I mean, we saw last year there was certain shoes that on eBay you could get, like you said. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Jordan 1 mids. That's a perfect example.
Cool.
Like about a year and a half ago, Jordan 1 mids, Jordan 1 lows. It didn't matter what the color was. You could go to the mall, you couldn't find them because all the resellers were buying all of them up.
Yep.
And that $100 Jordan low was selling for 225 to 250 on Amazon when it was only selling for like 150 on Goat or
Mhm.
StockX. You were making lunch money profit on the foot apps, and you were doing more than a double up on Amazon. And it,
Yeah.
like anything, eventually it catches up. Like I think that game right now for mids and lows isn't as profitable as it was this time last year, but there's still money to be made. And that's the cool thing about the group is when one thing starts to disintegrate, another thing comes up. Things
Yeah.
are seasonal. Styles change. Kids get into different makes and models, and when you have a big group of people that are you have 450 sets of eyes looking at all the trends. And I have two kids. One's about to go into high school, one's in middle school, and they tell me all the time what the end things are at school.
Yeah.
Everyone's wearing Crocs, everyone's wearing Uggs. It's not as much Nike as it used to be. A lot of kids are wearing Vans. Things
Mhm.
change. So, you know, when you have a group, everybody tells you what's in, what's not. You have that advantage. But Amazon's just ridiculous what you can get away with selling product for on there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. I don't know how much I can share, but there was one cleat play specifically last year that
Yeah.
I mean, it probably paid for a monthly membership to Heatseekers
Oh my god.
for like 5 years or something. I mean,
It
even
was
more, yeah.
that was
If I had more
unbelievable.
money, it'd be a lot more for you probably. But I
Yeah.
mean, it was a home run, and during the pandemic, it felt like there were home runs everywhere.
Yeah.
And then now, you're starting to see resellers talk about how everything's slowing down when in reality it's just not a pandemic anymore,
Yeah.
And so to find home runs like that pretty consistently, that's a huge value, and I fed my kids and paid my mortgage with with selling freaking cleats, buying
Absolutely.
them full price, not clearance, buying them at a regular price and then
Full
just flip
retail.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, we don't do just shoes. We had a play at the beginning of last year that was a novelty item, and we had a member buy a brand new truck from this one play.
Yep.
He got on it early, he didn't drag his feet, he bought every unit that he could find, and he moved them fast.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of different seasonal plays as well outside of the shoes. I mean, we focus on shoes, but if something's going to sell and is worth money, we're all over. I mean, we could talk about it. It's expired now at this point. Splatterball guns. We
Oh, yeah,
shared it
yeah,
on the Instagram page. I mean, we were doing splatterball guns the year before when they were on clearance, and they
yeah.
did well because they were like, eight, depending on your Walmart, it was like $8 to $25 a unit. Then
Mhm.
circle back to last year, it became a hot item, and we were buying it at full retail instead, and then selling them for anywhere between $175 to 250, 260 for the bigger model,
Yep.
and they were literally selling like by the second. We had people buying hundreds of units at a time and selling them that day. If
Yep.
they said Dolphin's in here, Lord Dolphin, he's the guy who actually purchased a truck from these guns alone. Like, but it was unbelievable, and that's something that, again, because of circling back and looking at things year after year, is it still worth selling? Is there a
Yep.
demand for this product? That unit ended up getting so hot that I think the state of New York actually banned that item. Like you're not allowed to have the splatterball gun in New York because people were shooting at each other with it. But it was a crazy lead that it got posted. we saw instant success, and
Yep.
everyone helped each other find it. From we were buying them online and picking up in store, and then we were going to the stores direct off Brickseek
Yep.
inventory and just buying them outright. So yeah, it's unbelievable the stuff that you can find. And that if you tried to sell that on eBay, they were doing okay, but they were doing nowhere near what
Yeah.
Amazon was doing. And listen, if you got to eat a couple of returns, if somebody sends you back a damaged one, or
Sure.
it's defective or broken, whatever the case may be, two, three, four of them, but you sell 5, 6, 700 units over the course of a
Yep.
couple days, I'll take that every day.
All day long. I I was in a so I live in rural Georgia, just out in the freaking boonies. I had driven probably 2 hours. I was at a Walmart, and there was a shelf. I vividly remember this, like it was yesterday. There was a shelf, and it was full, like top of the shelf. They were stacked up horizontally, and then they were all like stacked in the shelf. There were probably 40 units or something, and I didn't have a ton of money, but I was like, I'm gonna test these. And so I bought, I don't remember how many I bought, two or three. Like I left so many, and they sold like immediately, but I didn't see it till I got home, and it was like 2 hours later, and then I didn't go back. In hindsight, seeing the success that some of you guys are having, um, I could have sold all of those free. Like I could have filled my van up, and having a group where they're saying, buy this. Here's where you buy it. Here's the kind of margins you can get. Oh, and here's the right platform to sell it on,
Hmm.
and all that. Like huge value. I mean, no wonder you guys are so successful with the group, because it shows. Like nobody else is doing the daily update and like all the stuff that's going on in there. Like it's a big deal. So.
Yeah, somebody said too, the magic mixies that we had, that was another one that sold like by the second because the rank was so high. There's so many of these different seasonal plays that come up that it really comes down to a community willing to share in real time. That's the thing is we find it, we sell it, people post immediately once they sell it. Hey, heads up, we have a channel just dedicated to the sales. So as
Mhm.
soon as somebody sells one, they want to share with everybody. Yo, I sold it at this price. Let's keep price high. That's the thing too. Is if you work together as a team, you can corner the market. Everyone can price high and get maximum price on it. And we
Mhm.
try to we joke around. It's like heat seeker pricing is what we call it. We like
Yeah.
people are selling it something at 250. We want to sell it at 350. And if we can empty the whole country out of an item, then we can control the price. And that's what we try to do. We're spread out everywhere. We have members in Hawaii, um,
Mhm.
all over the country. So if we can corner every part of the country, just empty this item out and get top dollar. Smart Cycles was another one years ago. I mean, we were
Yeah.
emptying out Marshalls and buying them for $50, selling them quick flip 150. Like, I mean, as you list them, they sold.
Those are crazy.
Some people held on and sold them for upwards of $400.
Mhm.
So there was no bad play there. And again, that was another thing that one member was in a Marshall, scanned it, saw it, sold it, told everybody right away, and then we went nuts on it. I think Los put a picture of it up on his Instagram. He
Mhm.
literally had like a wall of them behind him. He had like
Yeah,
hundreds of them. They
yeah.
were everywhere. It
Those
was
are nice too, 'cause you can slap a label on them and send them out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was such an easy, and none of those got returned. It was unbelievable. There was
Yeah.
like zero return rate on all of those.
So, that was good. Well, let me ask you a couple questions about
Yeah.
you. So, what did you do before you started buying, 1,500 Nike Jordans behind you, or whatever that is? Like, how did you get into this? What's your hop into the DeLorean and take me back to DVD reselling before, you had
Way
some.
back, the way,
Yeah.
way back. So I'll give you the way, way back. So if we want to go, I mean, this goes, my whole reselling thing has been forever. I'm just turned 43. So I used to hunt autographs with my father when I was young. He was a big baseball guy, and we lived in Florida. We would go to the baseball stadiums, get cards signed, get memorabilia signed, all that stuff. I would save it. And then as I got older, and my parents got divorced and I moved in with my mom. He lived in Florida. I'm in Jersey. I continued to chase autographs and I used to get stuff signed. I actually live like 45 minutes from Philly. So I was one of those creeps that would actually go to the hotel, get the away teams to sign stuff, balls, cards, jerseys, you name it. And I had some local buyers that would buy the stuff from me wholesale and then sell it in their stores. And I got to the point one day I'm like, listen, I think I'd probably make more money selling this myself. I started finding out about eBay. I mean, I ended up opening up my eBay store in '99,
Wow.
and I started moving, and I still use the same one still, and I started selling the autographs on there, and you know, it was doing great. And it being it, I could go get these big names, celebrities, and you can get a $10 baseball sign and then sell it for 150, 200 bucks was a
Sure.
beautiful thing. And I always had a passion for sneakers and clothing. It was always something I was into as a kid. I just loved the Jordan brand. I was fascinated with all the different shoes that came out. And I started thrifting at first. I did that for a long time. And even to this day, I still do it, not to an extent thrift once that's really it. But I thrifted in yard sale for guys like probably 15 years.
Wow.
Like up until about 2014, 15 is when I started to move on to buying in the outlets, buying at the Rosses, the Marshalls, Nike outlet, things like that. And
Yeah.
it just scaled over time. It got, more and more and more. And where it really changed was like for a lot of people was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Um, I worked full time in retail. I sold furniture. I ran a 100,000 square foot furniture store for a major company. I was in sales for 8 years, and then I was the store manager for 8 years. So that nights, weekends, holiday grind
Sure.
gets to you. I was
Yeah.
missing all my family gatherings and events and everything. So we shut down as a company for 2 months when COVID hit, and we reopened Memorial Day weekend, pretty much. But that 2 months really is where I had time to sit down, figure out my business. The 7 other gentlemen that I currently own the Discord with, we had a private chat, and we still do to this day. And we really, pushed each other. There was a couple people, one guy in particular that introduced us to Amazon, got us on the platform, got us selling
Yeah.
on there, and that really took it to the next level. And being around like-minded people that want to see you succeed and want to push you to the next level, that was everything. So I went back to work for about one more year after that, and now I'm 2 years. Well, June will be 2 years full time reselling. I
Wow.
resell full time. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I love being around the family. I could never go back to working nights, weekends and holidays again. That I could not do that. It's priceless to be able to be with the family. That I do miss being in a work environment though. I like being social. I like being around other
Sure.
people. You know, I liked running a staff, but I hated working nights, weekends, and holidays and being away
Yeah.
from the family. I like to teach. I like to train. I like to do those kind of things. You see in the Discord, I run a
Sure.
monthly Zoom call. I bring on guests. I continually train and teach, and I want to see people grow and evolve. And that part of it I miss, but I don't miss being away from the family. But yeah, that's really it. And now I'm a full time reseller now. All the platforms that we talked about. I don't discriminate the item. If it's worth selling, I'll sell it. I
Yeah.
don't care what it is. And so yeah, that's kind of my backstory. I'll never stop thrifting. For those who do thrift, you know, good for you. I love it. I still will do it always.
Yeah.
There's a that thrill of the hunt of buying at that low, number and selling for that
Yeah.
high ROI. There's nothing else like it. And finding like an old vintage rare piece that you haven't seen in 20, 25 years. It's an awesome thing. It's
Hmm.
not for everybody for sure to go out and thrift, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's one piece of me thrifting and yard selling I'll never get rid of. I love
Yeah. I'm a closet thrifter too. I talk
that.
about Amazon because it's Cody does Amazon. That's my whole
Yeah,
thing. But I love a yard sale or to hit the flea market or those sort of things like going to a thrift store. I still have the thrift stores that I loved back in a couple years ago. If I drive by them, I'm probably gonna stop and walk through, and yeah, I feel the exact same way. I found some green Air Force Ones the other day, and I got them for $15. I was like, this is amazing. Like that,
yeah.
you get the adrenaline rush from picking something like that up. So
Absolutely. It's still, and it's changed. I mean, it's not like it was 5, 6 years ago where everything was dirt cheap. I mean, everybody now, the Goodwill, they have their own platform. They want to research items. They want to tax everybody now. But there's still plenty of things that slip through the cracks. And there's
Sure.
so many more people now that do it. I have 2 or 3 spots still, and I'm in New Jersey, South Jersey, that I still, as I drive by them, I will stop. It's just way more competitive than it used to be. The prices are higher than they used to be. You
Yeah.
gotta strike it rich at some of these mom and pop places are the way to go. These really hole in the wall, smaller places are definitely better than the Goodwills and the Salvation Armies of the world.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah. Lord Dolphin says this is a destroy your credit report time.
See, this is one of the things, because we joke around about it too in the Discord. Is it's like one of the phrases that we have is "I wish I went deeper." People say it all the time. I can't tell you how many plays we talk about that people just
Yep.
go, "I wish I went deeper. I wish I went
Yep.
deeper." And I think we've gotten to the point now where it's like, if enough people listen, this is a safe play. This is a home run play. You have to go deep. We try to encourage people to push to that point of uncomfortable. Like
Yep.
I said, I remember in COVID time, we were buying Vapor Max Plus. I mean, the world shut down. No one's going
Yeah.
anywhere. There's Vapor Max Plus, a Nike item, which everybody, they were giving them away. You could buy them for like $80 to $100, even sometimes
Yep.
cheaper than that. And we were selling them on Amazon for like $300, $350 a pair. And I woke
Yep.
up one morning. It's the first big spend. I mean, again, I'm coming from the thrift world and the lower buy price, and I think I spent like $6,000 before 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And between the 8 of us, I think we were at like $50,000 to $60,000 spend by 10 a.m. And I was
Crazy.
like, my God, I felt so uncomfortable. I remember my wife, she's like, I mean, I had walls of boxes that came in, and like
Yep.
6-pack boxes stacked to the ceiling, all the way down the wall. I was so uncomfortable doing it. But looking at it in hindsight now, I wish I spent 5 times that. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it's like, you know what? I've learned that at this point now, if everyone else in the group's doing it, if you're around people who know what they're talking about and they're going hard and deep, you got to push to the point of being uncomfortable. It's have we made mistakes? Absolutely. Everyone in business has made mistakes, but
Sure.
you got to try to push it to the limit as hard as you can when the times are like that. Nike sale was a perfect example. It's like, I can't tell you how many people, even the ones that spent big money, in like 4 or 5 months, they're gonna be like, man, I wish I went deeper. It's
Right.
gonna say,
Right. Yeah.
everyone's gonna say it. I know it,
Yeah.
100%.
I feel that way too. Yeah. Um, Let me ask you about one of the questions that came into my Instagram is long term holds. So are you in the long term hold business? Are you doing some of those like speculative? I think Michael Jordan's gonna whatever, or this model is gonna do really well in 6 months. Are you doing any of that?
I used to be really big on it. The world of sneakers has kind of changed. We saw, like, when COVID hit and the Jordan documentary came out, Jordans exploded. Didn't
Sure,
matter which one it was, they all went up in price. It was crazy. And the people that were sitting on pairs, dead stock is what they call, like, unused pairs. When people were sitting on dead stock pairs, made a fortune. And holds became a big thing. You saw so many kids on Instagram that would buy a shoe, spend, using their parents' credit card, young
sure.
people, and buying 20 to 50 to $100,000 worth of shoes and holding them for 6 to 12 months and then flipping them. But there's very few models anymore that are worth the hold. It's just, we're in the point now where everyone seems to be in such a panic that the markets tank so fast now. A lot
Sure.
of shoes release overseas before they release domestically, and the prices get torn apart.
Yeah.
Unless something nowadays is like a super hot collaboration, it they generally will go up over time, but most shoes are super long holds now. I'm a big collector myself, so like everything you see behind me, like, this is my personal collection, stuff behind me.
Nice. Made
I'll
me.
Yeah, I mean, but I buy it because I like it. It's stuff that, I've always been a shoe guy, and there's a lot of pieces that I want to keep in my own collection. And now my oldest son wears the same size shoes as me. He's 13
Oh,
years old, and
nice.
we wear the same size shoe. It's crazy. So he's digging through my shoe cabinets now and wearing stuff to school to show off. But yeah, hold plays is really, it's the world's changed. Dunks now, you can't hold them. Jordans, maybe Jordan 4s you can hold on to, but there's not really any money in holding them anymore. But there's certain things, like, I see people put Panda Dunk cleats. That was one of the plays that we just had in the Discord that was $100 bill every single pair immediately when he came in. Some people sold right
Yeah.
away. I was one of them. I got 30 pairs. I ripped through them in like 3 days.
Yeah.
Other people held on to them, and the price now has went up. Some of the sizes now are $450. That was a cleat that was in stock for 30 minutes. You could buy 10 per order,
Yeah.
and some people in the Discord went nuts. Others were scared by spending $160 a pair,
Yeah.
but the ones who bought it, it's still right now they're all $350 to $450 a pair right now.
Yeah.
But holds are pretty much dead at this point now. It's years, really, it's years now if you want to profit on holds, and
Yeah.
it may not even happen.
Right. Yeah. I feel like there's so many, opportunities to quick flip stuff now. I, for a minute, I did a ton of shoes, and I liked it a lot. And then now I'm doing, a lot of random health and beauty stuff. But to put, you know, 3 figures, 4 figures into a long-term hold play because I think something will do good in 18 months, that seems ludicrous to me. Like, I can't even imagine, like,
Mhm.
maybe if I were a lot smarter and I knew the market really, really well, like Panda Dunk cleats would have been a really good thing, to hold. But like for me, I can move money in and out. And, like my whole mantra is get it in, get it out faster,
Yep.
and how can I flip and, try to multiply the money faster. And if I had a lot more money, I think I'd spend the time and try to figure out some of those. But I think I'm too much of a nervous Nelly
Well,
now
I
for
think
stuff.
that's it. I think if you're gonna do long hold plays, you have to have capital just laying
Capital. Yeah.
around. You have to. I mean, it's the world we live in now is that's the reselling game. Everything's in and out. And that's the thing I try to do in a Discord is I try to spell it out. Like when I do a recap on every single shoe, like there's 2 shoes dropping tomorrow that I've made
Yeah.
recaps for and I put in a Discord. And I will literally spell out, I'll show you the comps right now.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you, look, this shoe tomorrow, these comps are gonna come down. Once people have them in hand or they see shipping confirmation, they're gonna come down again. You're looking at this amount of money selling now, and this is probable what's going to happen down the road. So I try to, we still have people that like to hold on to shoes. I mean, there's, plenty of shoes that do well 6, 12 months later, but the majority of them, it's just not there anymore. It's kind of a personal preference. Some people like a mix. Some people go, I'll buy 2, 3 pairs. I'll tuck them away. I'll make money on
Sure.
those and I'll sell the other 30, 40 of them right now. But capital is the thing. You have to have capital. And in an environment that we're in right now where a lot of retailers are, slashing and cutting prices and discounting like crazy, that's where the winners are going to be are the ones that have capital and they're available to take, this opportunity to spend heavy money. You don't want to bury yourself in credit card debt. You
Sure.
want to have this money lined up for the right opportunity to strike and buy profitable
40%
items.
Nike sale that you get a good morning text from
Yeah.
Stevie.
Yeah, you can
Uh,
wait. Imagine if you had 20, 30,000, tucked away. I mean, listen, it's a big chunk of money, but if you had money like that tucked away for an opportunity like that, it makes
yeah.
it a lot easier for yourself. And those kind of things, it's surprising how often those things come up. It's like 2 or 3 times a year where we have mega play, like a mega
Yeah.
play like that, where it's just a no brainer. It's unlimited buying. And if you have some money tucked away like that for a rainy day, it just makes it a lot easier. But yeah, I highly suggest to get it in and get it out. And if you have the extra capital, then you can tuck some stuff away.
Yeah. Totally agree. All right, I got a question for you from Instagram. She says, size matters. LOL. How do you pick what size you're gonna buy?
It really depends on the product. When we look at shoes, there's different types of shoes from your regular, your basketball shoe, for an example. Somebody I just saw on YouTube put GT cuts. That was a play at Ross and some other places. A basketball shoe does well in large sizes.
Yeah.
Most if you're going to sell to high school, college, or professional athletes, you're looking at 12 and 13 is small. It could be bigger sizes, the 14 to 15 to 16 that really have the big time money. Then you look at stuff like track and cleat shoes. That's generally a smaller athlete. Somebody who's very physically fit, smaller in stature, they're going to have a smaller foot generally. So you might be looking in a play like that, 8, 9, 10. It
Yeah.
really comes down to the type of product that you're selling to determine the sizing. Same thing with footballs. Like in football, there's different types of cleat. You have cleats for skill position players like a running back or a wide receiver, and then you have cleats that are made for the big boys, the linemen in the trenches, and those guys are going to have bigger feet than the more skilled players. So it really depends on the product. Your general consensus is in a basic generic shoe. In women's, you're probably looking at like the 6.5, 7 to women's 9 is average. In men's, you're probably looking at like the 9 to like 13 range is kind
Sure.
of the average just in a basic sneaker. But I know a lot of people get scared of buying big shoes, and especially in women's too. People see a size 9, 9.5, 10, even 11 women's, and people get scared off sometimes. There's more people than you think out there with big feet. He's even young. Like I said, my kid now, I only wear 10.5, but my kid at 12 or at 13 is wearing the same size as me, but his buddy, same age, is wearing a size 13. 13
Yeah.
years old wearing a size 13. So you can only imagine where he's going to end up. So don't be scared of big sizes. I tell people that all the time.
Yeah. Is 11 and a half, is that a real thing? Is that like it's a rare foot size or
Well,
something?
the half sizes generally carry a premium. 12.5 used to be like the size that had well, it's still kind of, it has lower production, and it's like
Okay,
it's an
maybe that's what it
odd,
was.
yeah, it's an odd number, but 11.5, 12.5 generally are like the two half sizes the key on. Um, 13.5 is just an odd one. They sell, but it's a strange size. But yeah, 11.5 and 12.5 are great. I like buying 12.5 a lot because it's generally, and that's one of the cool things in Discord. We get the, like on all the Nike drops, we get the stock numbers. So
Yeah.
every morning before the drop happens, we actually have the back end stock that we get for, and you'll see a lot of times 12.5 is like the lowest stock size. They don't
Mhm.
produce as many pairs of it. So it generally will carry a premium.
This is gonna you're gonna laugh. When I started selling shoes, I know this is so dumb. I genuinely didn't realize that each size would carry its own price. I
Mhm.
had I never figured I didn't know, and I remember calling my buddy and being like, "Did you know that this size, will be they're not the same because the stock number is different and the demand is different,"
Mhm.
which makes sense. But I remember realizing that and being like, "Oh wow, I'm such a dummy," like
Well,
that's
no, I mean, if you don't deal with the product all the time, you wouldn't know. It's sometimes the stock level's drastic. Like we just had the big Jordan 3 release the other day, and they can have 200 to 250,000 pairs released at one time, and say in a common size, like 10.5 is usually like the highest print run, like they'll make the most, and you might have, just say for an example, like you have like 5,000 pairs of a 10.5, you might have like 1,500 to 1,000 pairs in a 12.5. Like it'll be a huge drop off sometimes in the
yeah,
sizes. So yeah, there's less people wearing a 12.5 compared to a 10.5, but there's less product on the market as well. So
right.
having that data of knowing how much product's coming out, it helps you secure some of these things because there's certain items that just sell out, and you want to take a chance at the highest print run to have a chance to get it. But then there's also that gamble of, do I go for the 12.5 because there's fewer pairs and I can make more money. So
Yeah. That's awesome. Let me ask you about returns. So I got someone in my Discord. I posted in there asking. I just said I'm talking to some smart guys that sell a lot of shoes. What questions do you have? Um, Returns.
mhm.
What? That was the main question I got. How are you keeping up with it? Are you doing something fancy to figure out if a certain ASIN is profitable? If you want to replenish it, or is it kind of by feel? Do you have a good system for keeping up with the losses from returns?
So I'll go into two things with that because you have both the replenishable and the returns. So returns, it's always the number one question that people bug out about with selling shoes on
Yep.
Amazon all the time. They're like, "You guys sell Jordans on Amazon? You're not worried about somebody wearing them and returning them? You're not worried about somebody swapping them out on you and you lose the pair?" I will sell any Jordan, any Dunk, any hype shoe on Amazon if it's on there. I've had 1,000 more problems with the most basic ass running shoes in comparison to Jordan. Because my feeling with Jordan is, people are they're buying Jordan, they know the product. They know
Yeah,
it's
sure.
gonna fit. They know what they want. They know, like, listen, I'm a Jordan 4 guy, I'm a Jordan 6 guy, I'm buying the shoe. I already have it. I like it. I know it's gonna fit. Um, I'm telling you, way less problems. And I don't. I can tell in a couple years of being heavy on. I think Amazon now. I'm like at 3 years of like full 24/7 selling on there. I probably had like three or four like serious issues with Jordan or Dunks with all the volume that's selling. and they were used like once or twice. They didn't.
Yeah.
I had one guy swap, and I I banged him with a 100% restock fee. I don't care. But you know what? He
Nice.
didn't come back at me because he tried. It was one of these things.
Yeah.
I gambled and he tried to get it off on me. He knew I caught it. Never even said a word. All right. I don't do that anymore. I do safety claims and stuff like that now. But it was early in my Amazon days and I was pissed and I
Yeah.
just did it. But the other ones, honestly, you know what? Again, same thing. They look like they're worn once or twice. I just clean up the bottom a little bit. I sell them on Goat. You can sell on Goat used. You can sell on Goat new with box, without box. Every condition you can sell on Goat.
Yeah.
And I'm generally able to get my money back, or even sometimes a couple dollars profit still, even in a used pair over what I paid. You know, so
Yep.
I don't stress out about the returns. I really don't. I have methods, Poshmark, eBay, Goat use that I sell
Exactly.
those products. If they're trashed, they go in the trash. You know,
Yeah.
it's part of the business. I write it off as unsellable, and that's it. You know, that to me, it's the positive so much outweighs the negative when it comes to returns on Amazon. I just, you know, I don't. I used to let it get to me. I'm past that now. And the replenishable part that you talked about, yes, I have certain shoes that I have a nightmare with as far as returns. You know, for me, like Free Run Flyknit and Nike, I probably have like when I was selling them on there, it felt like I had like a 75% return rate on them
Yeah.
just for not fitting. And I said, you
Mhm.
know, I've had enough of this shoe. Like it just comes back all the time.
Yep.
And then there's other shoes also that I sell that I feel are subject to getting inauthentic claims, which I don't like to deal with at all. Like Nike Blazers, they have like the tongue is not stitched. It's like a piece of foam. If you look at it from the
Right.
side, it looks like it's unfinished. It's a nightmare. I can tell you many times I see people getting authentic claims on them, and I personally just, you know, I'm like, it's not worth it to me. I'm just gonna stop
Yeah.
selling this model because it's not worth the headache. Other people are okay taking a gamble on it. There's other things to sell. I'll sell them if I get them at a good price. I'll rip through them on Goat. I'll rip through them on eBay. I don't have to worry about it on there. You
Yeah.
know, everybody has like their one or two pairs that they go, I'm not touching those. I don't like
Yeah.
them. They always get returned. Some people say it with like Nike 270s or,
Mhm.
you know, certain other Air Force Ones. I don't. I just I can't mess with Free Run Flyknits anymore. That's my shoe. I don't mess with
Yeah.
on
That's
Amazon.
funny. Yeah, I think a lot of people are, they're not building enough margin in for returns. You know, if you're buying something to try to do it at a 10% or, you know, like if there's not enough profit, you're gonna really feel the returns. But, you know, if there's enough profit, then it makes sense. You know, and so I would say make sure the deal makes sense, and then have a plan for the returns, because you know there's going to be some, you know, a lot of Amazon sellers, a lot of the people that I know and kind of go back and forth with every day, they don't want to do anything on any other platform. They're Amazon snobs, which is
Yeah.
great, and you know,
So
good for them. But you know, shoes might not be the best, might not be the best, you know, niche for you, because you're gonna have returns and you can't sell used on Amazon. And so
yeah, but you know what the margins, like you said, is with myself personally with shoes. You said a great piece of information there is the margin.
yeah.
I I do not sell on Amazon shoes in the shoe category less than I mean I don't like to go under a 50% margin. That I mean
Yeah.
that to me that's like low. Like 40 is like extremely pushing it. If it's like a super fast mover and I know I'm generally successful with low return rates on it, I'll kind of squeeze the 40, but I am a minimum 50% margin. That's my hard margin, and there's so many shoes that you could sell like we talked about, you know, with the cleats and the Jordans in the past that you're doing 75%, 100% margin, you know, so if you have returns, you have so much leeway,
Yeah.
you know, and moving them at those kind of margins. And yes, margins over the last year or two have gotten tighter. There's more competition on Amazon selling shoes than there used to be, but there's still so many shoes out there that you can make 50 plus margin with no problem whatsoever.
Yeah. What about apparel? Are you doing you doing apparel? Is that something you're
Yep.
into?
Yeah, I do quite a bit of apparel. I love I don't do as much socks anymore. I used to do like socks and underwear and boxers, things like that, and
Mhm.
kind of got away from it. But yeah, I love apparel. I love hats. If I can get them in bulk, I love them. Again, that's like an item to me I have very low return rates on. A
Yeah,
hat's a hat. It's very rare that somebody doesn't like the fit of it.
sure.
Fitted hats are a little sticky, but your regular adjustable hats is a no brainer. Um, yeah, listen, I love women's leggings. I love,
Yeah,
joggers. I love
sure.
sweatpants. I love hoodies. Yeah,
Yep.
you see a lot of returns in apparel, I feel. But again, a lot of the buy costs are super low,
Yep.
and you could sell it at a big number, and they move fast.
Right.
Season. I love buying off season too. Like I'm gearing up now. I'm ready for all these stores to start marking down all this winter item, the hoodies and the sweatpants and all that stuff. And I
Mhm.
will just buy them and stock them away because, those $10 and $12 sweatpants that you can sell for 70 to 80 come quarter four.
Yeah,
I'll buy all that stuff and hold it till quarter four. It's so worth it for me.
sure. Yeah, I like apparel too. It's another one of those things I got really into it there for a minute, and then kind of got distracted with the other stuff. But I know if the health and beauty and grocery and all that, like if it starts to slow down or if I start to get bored with it, I
Yeah.
can always go back to apparel and shoot. Like I see you guys in there killing it, and so it's something I still I'm learning and constantly kind of testing and doing stuff, but I'm not full out and in those categories.
Yeah. And
You're right.
things come and go too, like you said. Like I don't want to say the store because it's a live play, but there's a store that we're messing with right now that people are going nuts on apparel right now. They're buying tons of apparel that they
Yep,
normally wouldn't look for because the price is right
the price is
and
right.
the margins are beautiful. So again, that comes down to a real time notification, team
Yep.
sharing with each other in real time. Yo, look for this exact item, look for this exact play. It makes it so much easier when you go to the store to look for that one item, and it speeds up the process. I can get an extra 2 or 3 stores in a day just because of the people telling me, yo, you know, men's clothing, look for this, and this. Women's
Yeah.
clothing, look for these items. They already did the research for you, and they're showing you. They'll take a picture of the item. They'll take a picture of the Keep a scan,
Yeah.
or they already might have sales already. It's
Hmm.
unbelievable. Yeah, apparel I'll do year around, but especially when there's big time sales, I love to go
Yeah.
real deep on it.
A great buy cost is a great buy cost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, so we're almost at an hour, and I know you got family and business run and everything. I I I have a question, and
Yeah.
maybe you can answer somebody in the comments. Would you buy from Goat and sell on Amazon?
Uh,
Would you? It's a okay.
no, you know what it is? I'm sure you can probably figure out a way to get away with the inauthentic claims. To me, it's just I hold Amazon at just at this high standard of,
Sure.
it's one of these things to me. I don't want to risk losing it,
Yeah.
and I just feel like if I start getting into bad habits and doing the wrong things, that at some point I'm going to slip up and get caught, and then I'm going to put myself in a situation. Cody, I don't stress about a lot of things. When I get in authentic claims, I'm a freaking mess, bro. Like
Yeah.
I had one that was I had all the paperwork. It was an item that I sold, like I think it was like 33 units. I had bought 10, I think it was 10, 10, and 13. Like I was spread out over 3 receipts. I had everything lined up. I highlighted, I submitted everything. I must have submitted this thing like 30 times. I could not get it
Yeah.
removed.
Yeah. I've
Eventually,
done
after
that.
6 months, it finally fell off. Thank God I got the rest that came in between now and then. I got them taken off, but I flip out about it. And I just
Sure.
feel like if you cut corners and do things that you shouldn't do, eventually it's going to come back to haunt you. There's there's plenty of times on Goat that, like, we did it. There was an item. I'll give you one quick example, quick. From Marshalls, it was probably like 2 years ago. These Jordan 1 football cleats.
Yeah.
They were in like every Marshalls across the country. People were buying them for like nothing. They were, I think, like $20, $25 a pair. And people were giving them away on eBay, selling them for like $60, $70.
Yeah.
And we had people that were buying them on Goat. And there's a thing called, there's Goat storage. They were just buying it on Goat, having it sent to Goat. They never saw the product. Goat was holding it in the storage facility. Turn around 6 months later, they're selling the same cleat that they just bought for $60 for 400, 500, up
Wow.
to upwards of $900 to $1,000 for the same cleat within a
Yeah.
year. I'd rather do those kind of plays and be educated by the people that I'm with and seeing what they're doing than risking my number one resource to make money
Yeah.
by cutting a quarter. And
Mhm.
listen, it's tempting, man, because there's so many shoes. Like, yeah, you can do it right now with like Panda Dunks. You can go on Goat, buy them for like 100, I don't know, $150 or $140 or whatever the case may be, and they've come down in price. But they used to sell consistently for $300 to
Yep.
$325 on there. Hey, it was tempting, but I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it.
Yeah, no, preach. I have a friend who does it a lot, and I mean, he's done really, really like for
Yeah.
probably over a year now. And the word you said is perfect. Tempting is the right word. Um, just out of curiosity, I have a software that I run tactical expander and tactical arbitrage. I ran the ASINs from Goat and ran it through Amazon, and there's a bunch. Like there's like a lot that
Oh, it's
you could,
tons.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and looking at the margins, like, oh man, that seems really good. But I personally agree with you. Amazon is not not friendly, and you even if it was something dumb, you could lose your account. But then you
Mhm.
have something where they don't honor Goat for some reason or whatever.
You know how many people like during like COVID time and coming out of it that were, like the kids that would run around the mall and just unload Foot Lockers and Champs and all this stuff, and then they would bulk buy out their friend. All right, I had 20 pairs of Jordan 1 lows. I'll sell them to you at X amount of price. They would buy them and then they would turn around and flip them on Amazon.
Yeah,
But the receipts are not in their name. They may
right.
not even have the receipts at all. Yeah, the price was great, but I can't tell you how many people got their accounts suspended
I
from
bet.
inauthentic claims, audits that went down, and they just did not have the receipts in hand, and their accounts were suspended. I mean, I'm not gonna mention names, but there was plenty of people on Instagram that actually publicly were like, "I got my account suspended. Here's what
Yep.
I did," and the ones who did get it back had to jump through hoops or pay crazy money to people to get their accounts
2 grand,
reinstated. I
easy.
don't want to deal with that shit.
Yeah,
I don't want to deal with it. I just have this thing, like, it's my luck. Like, if I go and do that stuff, I'm gonna end up getting caught. And I think, like most things in life, if you cut corners and do things that you shouldn't be doing, at some point it's gonna catch up to you. Yeah, you might make a bunch of money in the short term, but in the long term, how much are you leaving on the table by doing that kind of thing?
yeah, totally agree. One more question came in.
Yeah, man.
How are shoe resellers able to cop lots of orders? That's what they wrote. How do you get so many? Like you see some of these guys, I'm sure that's what he's talking about, where they're like, I got 25 of this hot shoe that just dropped or whatever. Like how are people getting volume?
Well, a couple different ways. I mean, some people use bots that buy online. It's a whole thing. You learn how to use sneaker bots and bot these websites when they do these hype releases.
Yeah,
That was really heavy in the days of when Yeezys were very popular. Yeezy
sure.
was a site that was like almost impossible to buy from manually as a human. Bots ate all the inventory.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, the biggest way that people do it now is by building relationships. You hear the term backdoor all the
yeah,
time. There's so many stores around the country that are backdoored, but they're backdoored because people actually go out, talk to people, make relationships. Sure, some
interesting.
of them are monetary. They're
Sure.
incentivized. People in the store, you're working at Foot Locker, you're making minimum wage or barely over.
Yeah,
If somebody's like, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna give you $10 a pair on every one of these. Save them for me." Yeah, but they built that relationship. They had to talk to that person and build it.
yeah,
I think you see a lot of people just in world in general, like they feel like people owe them something.
sure.
My biggest thing is like, listen, I was plugged in the store at one point. The guy's not there anymore, but my local Burlington for years, I was the only person that touched shoes in that store because I built a relationship with the employee, being friendly. I walked in
Yeah,
the store, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day? Good to see
yeah,
you." And we got friendly over time.
yep,
I was like, "Hey, when's the truck coming in?" She gave me the information. Next thing you know, throw her a couple bucks, cultivate the relationship even more. She leaves the company, she hands me off to the next guy. I
yeah.
didn't even have to. She's like, "Listen, I got you. I'm leaving, but I'm gonna take care of you."
That's
And
awesome.
but I'm a social guy. I go out. I enjoy talking to people
Sure.
and meeting new people and learning. And that little thing goes a long way. I can't tell you how important it is to go out and socialize and make relationships, like anything in business. And that's why you know I in the Discord, like we've had local meetups. We had a meetup in October in Philadelphia where I really encourage people, listen, if you live in the tri-state area, come meet up. Let's sit down.
Yeah,
Let's make
sure.
relationships. If you need something, we can help each other out here. And
Yeah,
we're going to do another one in June down in Orlando. We're going to be down there in
nice.
Orlando. We're very heavy with members in Florida, and to
Sure.
build those relationships, that it's huge in the sneaker game. I can't tell you how many people's business models strictly are on the relationships that they built and the amount of sneakers that never touch the showroom floor. They all
Sure.
go through that back door.
Yep.
It's once you get it, it's a beautiful thing. You get mad when people are getting the stuff before you, but when you're in that position, it's
Right, yeah.
it's a beautiful thing. It really is.
Yeah. I bet knowing those people is good too, 'cause I know 2 sneaker guys that don't do social media, and one of them is, I mean, massive, like, he's doing, like, crazy numbers in revenue, and, it's, I don't know how, I guess, me putting out content, and then we just kinda started, chatting, but, a lot of those guys, they're just pushing crazy, revenue, crazy profits. They don't care about building a personal brand or,
Mhm.
putting stupid reels out on Instagram, like they're making big money. And I might try to make it down to Orlando. That would be fun, huh? I don't
Ooh,
know.
come down. So we're gonna do, I think, end of June. We're finalizing the details now of where we're gonna have it. But we had about 20 people show up to the one in Jersey that we did right outside of Philly in October. It was a couple of the members I had met before because I've met people in the street. It's wild because I always go out. I got the Heatseekers hoodie on all the time,
Yeah.
everywhere I go. I went down a couple months ago down the White Marsh. I was in Maryland. There's a Nike clearance store down there. It's 2.5 hours from my house.
Hmm.
Was walking through the store. Somebody's like, Stevie. I'm like, what?
That's awesome.
Because I got the hoodie on all the time, so people recognize you. But
Yeah.
it was cool to make that relationship and meet somebody. But these meetups are huge. It really is.
Sure.
I highly suggest, like, if you are in a group and you have the opportunity to meet your fellow members,
Totally
it
agree.
makes it so much easier on a daily basis. So much easier on a daily basis when you're in there to
Yeah.
actually talk to these people because they can put a face with a name. And so many people want to be secretive nowadays. It's so funny out. They never want to show a face, which is fine
Mhm.
if you want to be low key and you
Sure.
want to be. But I just think there's so much more advantage to actually going out there and
Yeah.
meeting people and socializing
It's
and building
networking.
connect.
It's not a
It's
resource thing. It's a
huge.
business thing. Yeah.
Eh,
It's totally,
It's
yeah.
look at it as a positive. There's so many more positives, and it's weird. I get like this weird happiness inside when somebody who is shy and low key when they actually do come out, for
Sure.
that first time and come meet the other people. I love it. Like I feel like I got through. Like I try to encourage, and they finally take that step and put themselves out there, and it's like
Yeah.
it's awesome. I love it.
It's an
But
awesome thing.
come to Florida, man, when we do it. I'll have all the details in there soon. It's going
Yeah.
to be a hell of a
Before I
time.
see it.
I think we're going to have probably like 40, 50 people show up for
Yeah,
that.
better be. Yeah.
We are so heavy in Florida with members. It's
Mhm.
unbelievable. Like we have every city in Florida covered, and it's going to be wild. From we got young hustlers, 16, honestly, 16, 17 years old in our Discord that are doing big numbers. I mean,
Yeah,
crazy,
that's
like
cool. Yeah.
numbers that you know somebody in their 30s or 40s would aspire to do. And
Mhm.
then we have, people my age, 40, 50 plus that are down there as well. And to see that crew together from 17 to 50 get together and get the network, that's a beautiful thing, man. I can't wait for it. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, man, I can't tell you, thank you so much for coming on. I'm with this business show, I'm trying to get to 50 episodes and then reevaluate. So, super appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and talking about all this. Anybody watching that's not in Heat Seekers, I know it sounds like this is a giant commercial for for Heatseekers, but everything I've said, I give you my word. I mean 100%, and Stevie too. There's a link in the description. It should let you join without a waiting list or anything. If you want to join tonight, check in on it. So
Yeah,
people
Cody's
are
link will get you to buy. We don't open very often. We keep it closed. It's a tight knit community. We do have a waiting list that we backfill from time to time, but it's very rare. Your link does get people in right away. And like I said, I know you've hinted to it before that we are a little bit of a higher price point, but listen, we do that for a reason. We feel like we provide a high level product. It's not
sure.
just wake up in the morning and here's one link. We give you full detailed analysis. We have tons and tons and tons of monitors that are
Yep.
monitoring front end and back end of the business. and the experience to be able to go into a Discord and talk. Like, there's no bullshit when we say, like, you want to talk to a 7-figure eBay seller of sneakers, they'll talk to you. You want to talk to a
Right.
7-figure
Yeah.
Amazon seller, they will talk to you. It's not like yes, no, and I won't speak to you. You can When can you
Right.
have a conversation with a 7-figure seller and they're actually interested in answering your question and talking to you? So
Yep.
we'd say, listen, we're going to put a value at this Discord of what we feel is right. It's a right, again, it's a business write-off. You use it to your business and be around people who want to make money and take this seriously. It's not a group of clowns. It's not a group of, listen, like I said, we've had fun, but it's
Yeah.
people who take this very seriously, want to
Yeah.
make money, and want to see you make money as well. So yeah,
Yep.
a little bit higher price point, but you know,
I think you could go higher.
I stand by it 100% that it's completely worth the value.
Yeah, I think you could go higher. Yeah. So.
Nah, well, I'm not gonna do that. I think where we're at is a good number, but it's
uh,
yeah, it's you come in and try us out. If it doesn't work for you, you leave. But I really think it'd be hard pressed to not find value in there.
yep. Totally agree. Well, man, thank you so much again. Have a good night. Everybody watching, thank you for coming, watching my business show. This is the real deal. And go sell some crap on the internet, baby. All
Yes,
right. Have a good
sir.
night.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
Cody. See you, bud.
Thanks, man.
Peace, guys.